Blessings, Hatep and Ma'at. That means I'm offering you truth. I am Neph, and today I'm going to be doing the oracle reading for this moon cycle. So I'm excited to be back here. If it's your first time here, welcome to Tehuti Ma'at. We are a revolutionary instrument that focuses on creating cooperative institutions in the areas of healing, art, and education, specifically focusing on the empowerment and upliftment of people of African ascent. I am an ancient wisdom keeper of sacred African science, and today's oracle reading is going to be based on the divinatory system, an alchemical deck that focuses on ancient African symbolisms from what most people know as ancient Egypt, which is known in our ancient language as Kemet. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. If you're returning, welcome back. This time I'm going to do things a little differently. I want to just make sure to share the energy that is coming up. For those who have been here before for the pyramid reading, usually I'll share the first 3 cards, and then the rest of the reading, the extended version, is behind our paywall for our members. But this time I'm going to just share the reading overall. And I want to also just let people know who are here for the first time that I don't really read cards the way that most people do. Although I am an oracle and a reader, I think we really have to heal our relationship to divination. And I focus on just reading the energy, period. So if you're here right now, if you're here a year after this reading is posted, it's still relevant because this is just a matter of reading the energy that's present. So if you're here, it's a fated event, right? You being here, you arriving, and you can trust that there's a message here for you. And welcome, Brother Rob. Glad to see you here. And you can always come back if you can't stay for the full reading. I just saw your message. But I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I think the most important thing for everyone to remember is that everything is about the energy and the forces of nature that are already here, moving through us, within us, and around us. It's not an external expression of energy that we now have to submit to. So I know that the energy we're in right now, like as I'm recording this reading, is very cerebral, very mental, and sometimes can cause a lot of anxiety. So I want to just invite us all to just breathe in together as we prepare to just receive the oracle and the message that is coming through. So just take a deep breath with me. We're going to just inhale and exhale through the mouth. Just release. And always remember, you can come back to your breath. Regardless of how anxious you're feeling, all the things you feel like you have to get done, take a moment for yourself. Take a moment to breathe and honor this life force that's here, that's within you. Because without it, you can do nothing. All that list of things is gone. So you can always take a minute to breathe and center yourself. So the first card of the reading that I pulled is the card Shy. So Shy is a force of nature that is very divinely embodied in our womb, because it is the expression of eternity, right? It is this destined path. I want you to go ahead and make sure, if you've never been here before, I like to exercise your intuition. Whatever comes for you intuitively when you see the symbolism on the card, take note of it. Even as I'm expressing my interpretation of the energy, take note of whatever comes up for you intuitively, aspects of your life, people, places, things. All of that is the most important aspect, because that's how the energy uniquely shows up for you, right? So the energy of Shy is in the house of Neph. Interestingly enough, the house of Neph is the house of the wind. For those who don't know, my name is Neferka. So the Nefer is actually the full word, but the Nefer is actually a wind instrument, right? And it symbolizes beauty. And because our ancient language was symbolic. And then the Ka is the symbol of the hands raised, and that is the spirit. So it's beautiful spirit. So it's interesting because that Nefer has Nef in there because that's the element of the wind. So this card is in that element. So we're talking about the air element, and the air element is the mental realm, right? But because this was the top of the pyramid of the reading, this is the element of fire. So this is the guiding principle of the entire cycle that we're about to move through. The number is 7. 7 is in numerology the number of divinity. And I want you to think about it in terms of our expansiveness and how divine or divinity, divine forces manifest on the earth, because the number 7 expresses that through the 7 directions, right? There are 4 cardinal directions. We know north, south, east, and west, but we also have above, below, and within, right? So those are the 7 directions. We also have 7 colors in the light spectrum. We have the 7 harmonic tones, the main tones. So, excuse me, that's how divinity expresses itself, right? Because it's our visuals, what we see, our sound, what we hear, how we sense energy. And that's how the divine manifests here, because everything is an expression of divinity in this creative space and realm that we're in, right? So that's the essence of this card, Shy. So shout out to Sky High, welcome. Peace and love to you too. So, all right, the energy of Shy. This is really expressing that in this cycle, destiny is key. Destiny is at play. There's always a divine dance that's happening between our destiny and our free will, because really we can't misstep. I want you to take this as the mantra of you can't fuck up your destiny. Excuse me. I told myself I was not going to curse anymore. I'm trying to be really more refinement with my speech and expression, but really you can't mess up your destiny. You have to allow yourself to just exist, knowing and trusting your own divinity, and that any step that you make is part of the divine plan. So sometimes we psych ourselves out with the polarity of thinking like, oh, is it supposed to happen? And we trip ourselves up, and that doesn't allow us to move in the freedom and the buoyance that we need to just be, right? So that is what the card of destiny represents. Our destiny is written within the womb of our mothers, right? When we choose to come through and to incarnate into the physical form that we're in, everything is written in the stars. So this is just expressing that during this cycle, destiny is aligning. And the wheels of destiny are turning, what they call the wheel of fortune, which you can see behind Shy in this image. So the wheel of fortune really represents things shifting in our favor. So there's just going to be a change in the tide. This is what's happening spiritually, and this is what's going to pour out down into all of the other realms as we begin to experience it through the mind, through the emotions, through the physical material world. We'll begin to express that destiny, right? And feel that certainty. So it's really about freeing ourselves from any feelings of like bondage or anything that feels like it's holding us back or stifling us. We're going to begin to just be able to express our destiny. We're going to be moving in more of that energy and that spirit of luck, right? Just things just coming to us. That's the energy that's here. Again, we choose to align with it or not. Sometimes we can resist the energy by going against the current. So the point of being, or the blessing, the benefit of being at an energy reading is to be conscious of the energy. So now instead of it being beneath the surface, it's on the surface. You know what it is. It's illuminated, and you can consciously align with it, which is a beautiful thing. So we'll go into the next realm, which are the next 2 cards that are in the realm of the air. Okay, so the realm of the air. So that means you're synchronized, Sky High. If you've been seeing 7 a lot lately, we already know 7 is the number of luck. 777, you usually see that as a number of luck. So that means you're already aligned. Anytime we're seeing synchronicities, and you could just pay attention to that, because everything speaks in numbers, ultimately, if we want to view it that way. So the next 2 cards are the air element. So this is the mind. So the first card is kind of like where our mind has been, or the influence on our mind, our thoughts, and how it's still affecting us now in this current cycle that we're moving into, which is the energy of Tehuti. Interestingly enough, we're in Tehuti season currently. If you're watching this in real time, Tehuti is the energy of Gemini. Our sun has been in Gemini or Tehuti since May, and it's going to continue to be throughout the month of June. And Tehuti is in the house of Ah, which is the house of the moon or the family of the moon. You can see that full moon shining bright over his head. He's the masculine expression of the lunar element. You also see the emerald tablet. Remember, whatever comes up for you intuitively, jot that down. If you're watching the raw play, the recording, pause. You can just process that before you get any reflection feedback from me, what's going on inside of you. So the number 5 is the number of change, number of transformation. It's also a number of challenge, adversity, because that's actually that change. Through our challenges, we create change. And that's also where we create power. So 5 is the number of power. And this is expressed through this energy of Tehuti. Tehuti, as you can see in this image, has a priest with the mask of an ibis bird or an ibis bird. That bird is the symbol of Tehuti, and usually because the way that it feasts in the sand when it's looking for its food, it looks like it's signing a signature. This is the energy of the scribe, the energy of expression, communication, right? This is the throat energy. So I want you to think about how your mind and your thoughts have been expressing themselves. I want you to also think about your connections and how you've been communicating with others, how your relationships and connections have been reflecting you. What have you been expressing? Has it been in integrity, in the heart space? All of this, because Tehuti, in all of the different forces, there's always the divine feminine complement for the masculine. So, for example, with Shai, you have the energy of Rananet or the energy of Meshkanet, which are the birthing elements, the nourishment of the birth, but also the birthing house, right? So those are the feminine aspects. Not going to get too deep into that. Again, if you want more information about this sacred knowledge, the best way to get deeper is to be part of our community, because it is sacred wisdom and it does need to be nurtured. So that's one of the ways that I hold this responsibility as the mother of Tehuti Ma'at, really allowing the space for people who are interested to come in and initiate themselves into deeper knowledge, can do so by being part of our community. But that being said, the balance of Tehuti is Ma'at, the feminine, and she is the heart, she is justice, she is truth. So are we being in integrity with our words, with our voice? And it is mental stimulation. This is the energy we've been in. This is where our mind has been. It's been amplified, right? The energy of Ptah or Jupiter is also in Tehuti in Gemini. So very expansive ideas, a lot of thoughts coming through. Doesn't mean all of them will land, but they are here, right? So this energy, like I said, is the energy of the scribe. So it's also representing success in writing and anything expression wise. This could be vocally, this could be literature, this is the sciences, this is also occult knowledge, like anything dealing with mystical knowledge, like this sacred knowledge that we're talking about right now, anything dealing with the supernatural knowledge, psychic abilities and gifts in the area of the mind. So this energy is also moving us forward into the next energy that we're kind of moving towards mentally. And that is mental tension. This is, as you can just see by the card, you can mark what comes up intuitively for you, because this card already has like an energy of itself, right? So you mark what comes up intuitively for you. But remember, Tehuti is also the mediator, right? So there's an aspect of us that's present that wants to mediate within our minds, mediate the two hemispheres of the brain and bring them into balance, right? Which is Ma'at. Bring them into synchronicity. So activating the mind is a great way to move through the adversity that this card represents here. And remember, it's mental, it's in our mind, it's in our thoughts. But we can make that a reality depending on how we align with the energy. However, if you see it as an opportunity, you can allow this energy to strengthen you, because this is the energy of Set. So this is what would be akin to, in the normal tarot, the devil card, because the devil or Satan, the word Satan actually comes from Setesh or Set. So that's an important thing to think about. Set is in the family of the sun, Ra. The number is 3, which is the number of the Trinity, our creative force, when 1 comes together with 2, creating 3. So this is the creative force. Now, Set being the energy of gravity, of opposition. Now, remember that gravity is a necessary force. In our ancient tradition, it's not characterized as just pure evil, although it is that energy and that force. It's seen as an oppositional force for a reason. It's gravity. We need the density of life to also give us purpose, right? There is no light without dark, right? So it's not that one is good or bad. It's more that we need to come into a more of a place of neutrality, more of a place of wholeness within ourselves to be able to view that from a balanced place or from a just expression and determine, right? We have to synthesize and determine what is good or bad for ourselves in any particular moment. So the energy of Set represents that opposition. It is the energy of gravity, like I said. So think about it like you're trying to strengthen your muscles and you need that gravity. You need that resistance to create muscle. In order for you to actually tear your muscle and build them, you have to push against the gravity. So that's the opportunity that comes with this adversity that's going to be coming forward mentally in this cycle as we move through it. Now, again, if you're aware of it and you frame it, right, you narrate it appropriately, you don't see this as something working against you. You see it as something working for you. But again, you first have to subdue it. You have to face that opposition or whatever that mental tension is going to be, however it manifests for you in your life, because that strife is going to strengthen your mind. And it's also the energy of retreating, right? Sometimes when you're facing an enemy, you have to retreat if you are not going to be able to pass it. One of the ways this might come up is like the energy of depression is an expression of the energy of Set. Now that energy can completely take you down if you allow it to, but if you overcome it, right, then you're able to be strengthened by whatever that emotion has been trying to express to you through your mind. Because remember, this is still a mental energy. So I want you to think about retreat is preferable to defeat. If it's a situation where you need to step down or step back in order to gather your mind, in order to process your thoughts, in order to really use your logic to process whatever you may be feeling so that you can move through it from a higher perspective, that's what you need to do. Retreat back, take your time. Like I started in the beginning, just breathe. Because with a lot of mental stimulation, because so many of us are existing in a state of mental illness, we're going to be very challenged by this energy. So now we're moving into the water realm, okay? And the water is the third tier of the pyramid in the reading, and it's the energy of our emotions. So this is how the energy in this cycle is going to express itself to us emotionally. So first we have the energy of Heteru. Again, pause it if you are watching the replay and come up with and process what comes up intuitively. It's in the family of Akhat, family of fire, the number 6, the number of perfection. And the energy of Heteru is the energy of magnetism, of love, of beauty, of attraction. This is what she represents, symbolized by the cow. You can see she always has the solar disc on her crown with the horns of the cow. And this is representing the force or the principle of magnetism and attraction, right? Sensing our emotions within the body, because she's also very physical expression, right? She's sensuality. So this means emotionally we've been feeling things in our body. So tune in this cycle. What has your body been feeling and sensing and expressing emotionally, right? Make that connection between the body and the emotional field, right? And that emotional body, or our ka, our spirit, is picking up and trying to communicate to us what it's sensing emotionally. Now, moving into the next card of Pertemru, which means coming forth from night into day, It's the number 8, the number of infinity, and it's in the house of the Duat. The Duat is the underworld or the subconscious. So the Duat is also the cosmos. It's where we go when we go to sleep every night. It's where we go when our body completes its expression in a lifetime and has to transition. That is the space of infinite potential, of chaos, of just space, dark matter, right? And this card represents moving out of that, literally coming out when the sun is being rebirthed from the darkness and creating a new day. That's what this energy represents. And you see the symbol of Kepra in the middle. Remember, whatever comes up for you intuitively, take note of that. Okay, because Pertemru is meaning we're coming through emotional adversity. Whatever that darkness was, whatever had come up for us during the eclipse season that we've still been learning and moving through, really releasing that emotionally, really coming and sprouting out, right? Sprouting out of that soil. It's like after that seed fights for its life and does that sprout and emerges into the light, right? That's what this card represents. And the third card in the emotional realm is Heru. And Heru is the number 7. And it's in the house of Ra, the sun, again, because they are family, right? Heru is the son of Asar. And I'm not going to go into the mythology. Again, if you're not familiar with it, I usually share this story so often because it's one of our most important prophecies. But join Tehuti Ma'at, and you can always have access to more information and knowledge. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen. For anyone who's interested in joining our membership program, you can join at the Kingdom tier or even the Empire rank. If you're interested in learning more information, having access to Tehuti Ma'at Academy. And if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to us via our hotline, which we receive texts at, and that's 646-883-MAAT. Let me also put that on the screen. And there are links inside the description. So the energy of Heru is the energy of overcoming that adversity, because Heru is the one who defeats his uncle Set, takes back the throne, right? It's the energy of the falcon. You can see it symbolized here by the falcon, with the falcon mask, and he's wearing the crown of both lands, of Upper and Lower Kemet. So it's the union of the desert land and the fertile land, right? Our higher and lower self, or defeating our lower self. That's what this represents. So emotionally, we are victorious over whatever mental challenges that face us, and really coming above that and really embodying our higher self. It's our victory. Heru is the winner, right? So it's like you can already know, regardless of what comes up for you during this cycle, that you're going to move past it, and emotionally you're going to show up triumphant. And as you know that, and whatever comes up for you, you're able to face that with more of that consciousness that I expressed earlier, of just knowing what it's here to serve for. And now we get to the bottom of the reading, which is the earth realm, right? Geb. This is how the energy is going to physically manifest in the physical world. So we start with the energy of Neter Neteru. Neter Neteru is literally the energy of the divine, right? What we know as God, the universe, all of that, but it's beyond God. It's God and Goddess. It's the eternal aspect of all potentials and possibilities. It's what is in existence, all that is in existence, and all that is not in non-existence and doesn't exist yet. So this card represents infinite possibilities. That was the terrain that's opening up this cycle. It's just infinite possibilities. Expect the unexpected even, right? Like I said, if we want to embody that energy of Shai, that's the top of the reading, right? The energy that's the guiding principle. We embody that mostly through what? Expecting that we are worthy of that luck, or for that change of events for the better, right? So you have to be open to the abundance. You have to be open to the shift. You have to expect the unexpected and really just be ready for whatever, and be able to embody the energy, This is just about as we align with it and we embody it, we're able to guide it and use our power. The next card is Sekhmet. Again, a number 3, creative energy in the family of fire. And this is about purification. This is the energy of protection. It's really a fire energy really heavily. So Sekhmet symbolizes the lioness. She usually has a lioness mask, and she usually has the solar disc because this is a very fiery energy. But it's the powerful protection. It's also the energy of lust, passion, strength. It's very ferocious, and it's magical power. So this energy can express itself in so many different ways. I just want us to be aware that it is here for our protection, and it's important to move the energy of lust up, right? And be able to express it through our passion so that it's not just released in the lower energy centers. Because then we lose our power, and we're actually being, our power is actually being pulled and used in ways that most of us are unconscious of. So be aware of that lust, be aware of that fire and that stimulation, and move that energy up. It's best to move that energy at the very least up here to the heart space so that you're in integrity, right? And then you're able to move it. So your heart, you have to pass the solar plexus, which is your will and your ability to act and use that energy for yourself. And again, if we do it within the heart space, then we're using it in ways that are loving and in alignment with what's best for the collective heart also, right? And then the final 2 cards I'm just going to briefly touch on. Ker in Tepeyaun, which is the primordial energy. Number 7 again, divinity, crown activation. You can see the crown is stimulated there. Note whatever comes up for you intuitively again. But it's crown activation. This is a secret initiation. It represents literally the occult, transmission of occult power, occult knowledge. Even just knowing this information is an expression of Ker. But what is happening in your life right now spiritually? Think about it. Step back out of your life for a moment and process what is materializing as an expression of deeper knowledge and the mystical sense of this greater tapestry of knowledge that's beyond what we can even see. But how is it now materializing in the physical world? How are you being initiated? And be aware of that, because this is a deeply it's just very profound. It's not really meant to be, like I said, it's secret initiation. It's something that's just happening. It's just for you. Cherish that. Be aware of that. Sit with that. Embody that energy by being aware of what you're being initiated into and what is the wisdom and the knowledge that's coming forward for you through this cycle. And finally, the final card of the reading, again, the number 6, number of perfection. House of Ra, the sun, we have Geb, Nut, and Shu. So the energy of Geb, Nut, and Shu, I'm going to show you the way it would be if Geb was laying, the earth, and the cosmos, Nut, or the night, is arced over him. And then Shu is dividing or separating or connecting, depending on how you look at it. But this card itself is depicting the energy of separation, but for independent action. This is the energy of distinction, the importance of distinction through the mind, right? Because Shu represents the air, the atmosphere. Shu and Tefnut is the masculine and feminine aspects of the atmosphere, the dry and the moist atmosphere. And it's mental, so we can use our minds to distinguish what is necessary for us to do independently in order to move toward our destined path. It's a very deep internal process, like I said. So remember, take some space for yourself. I'm not saying isolation, but just come in and be clear and distinguish yourself, your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions from everything else that's reflecting you in the external world, or our perception of this external world. We're not really separate, but that energy of separation allows us to actually see and observe things that we can only do from that essence of our unique expression in this life. So we're all connected to everything, but right now we're being guided to be in alignment with our destiny. All the energy is here to support that, to remind us that we know exactly where we're meant to go and we're on our way there. And you're going to do that by honoring your unique essence within you during this cycle and moving through whatever adversity and whatever challenges come up for you mentally and emotionally. You're going to overcome that and that's going to make you more clear on where exactly it is that you're going. All right, I appreciate you being here. I want to thank everybody who has been here for the reading live and those who caught the raw play. I want you to check out coinsandcaris.com. That's our spiritual marketplace. If you're interested in booking a reading with me, then you can do so there. And you can also, if you want to support the reading and send any contribution or donation, we invite you to just support Tehuti Ma'at with a Cash App to $Tehuti Ma'at World. And aside from that, you can follow us on Instagram, of course. We have an Instagram for Coins and Caris. All the links are in the description. So Coins and Caris, and there's the Instagram for Tehuti Ma'at as well. So I want to thank you again, and I will see you next time. All right? Power, travel light.